So I woke up this morning, picked up the Washington Post, and the headline read, "Trump takes power."
In a moment that lit up the internet and reportedly sent Mar-a-Lago into full meltdown mode, filmmaker and political firebrand Michael Moore appeared on live television and delivered a scathing, unscripted rant that had Donald Trump fuming within minutes. During a surprise guest spot on a late-night panel, Moore pulled no punches as he tore into Trump's legal woes, financial failures, and what he called the most insecure ego to ever sit behind the Resolute desk. But it was one line in particular that set the former president off. Trump's not running to save America, he's running to save his own orange hide from prison. The crowd erupted in applause as Moore leaned forward and added, "He's not a political leader, he's a walking indictment in a red tie." According to insiders, Trump was watching live and instantly flew into a rage, reportedly throwing a half-eaten filet-o-fish at the TV, yelling, "That slob doesn't know anything," and demanding his team sue anyone. Social media exploded, with clips of the moment going viral and hashtags like #MoreMicDrop and #TrumpTantrum trending within the hour. Political commentators called it a nuclear-level truth bomb, while Trump loyalists scrambled to discredit Moore, calling him a failed filmmaker, despite Fahrenheit 11/9 suddenly shooting up Amazon's charts. As for Moore, he simply tweeted after the show, "I said what millions are thinking, and judging by his tantrum, I hit the target in what many are calling the most explosive TV moment of the year." Michael Moore made an unannounced appearance on a late-night talk show and utterly shredded Donald Trump, sending shockwaves through both the media and the Trump camp. The segment began innocuously enough, with Moore known for his candid political commentary, discussing his latest film project. However, the conversation quickly took a turn for the dramatic when the host, noticing Trump's recent surge in media attention, asked Moore what he thought about the former president's bid for a second term. Moore's response? If Trump was running for most likely to cause a national disaster, he'd win by a landslide. But for president? Not so much. As the audience laughed, Moore leaned in, his voice dripping with sarcasm and sincerity. Trump doesn't care about America, he cares about himself. He's a man on a mission to save his own skin. His whole campaign is about dodging indictments and lawsuits. This man isn't running for president, he's running for his freedom. The camera cut to the host, who could hardly contain their laughter as the audience erupted into applause. But it was the next line that sent the entire nation into overdrive. Moore turned to the camera and said, "He's not a political leader, he's a walking indictment in a red tie." Immediately, Trump's fan base flooded social media with responses ranging from furious to hyperbolic. Some even called for Moore's immediate cancellation, while others demanded Trump sue the fat man who doesn't know how to make a good movie. But behind the scenes, it was a different story. According to multiple sources close to Trump, the former president was watching live from his private suite at Mar-a-Lago, his face turning a shade of crimson not seen since the 2016 debates. The moment Moore delivered his line, a flurry of expletives reportedly filled the room as Trump stormed around.
Talking about whether Trump means it or not is kind of irrelevant because he's saying the things to people who are hurting. And it's why every beaten down, nameless, forgotten working stiff who used to be part of what was called the middle class loves Trump.
Knocking over his Diet Coke and angrily shouting, "This is unbelievable. This fat movie guy needs to be put in his place." Sources claim that Trump immediately called his legal team, demanding they look into suing Moore for defamation and make sure no one watches this clip ever again. However, his efforts were thwarted when, within minutes, the clip went viral. Twitter lit up with hashtags like #MoreMicDrop, #TrumpTantrum, and #MichaelMooreTakesTheWin, and the segment exploded across Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Moore, of course, was unfazed, tweeting out a quick response, "Trump's not mad at me, he's mad at the truth. And trust me, the only thing more fragile than his ego is his legal defense." As the story spread, political pundits weighed in, with many saying Moore's remark was the kind of bold, unfiltered truth-telling that the American people needed to hear, while others speculated that Trump's over-the-top reaction would only fuel Moore's popularity. "This is a war of words, and Moore just delivered the knockout punch," said one commentator. "Trump doesn't know how to fight back, except with his usual tantrums, but they only make him look more unhinged." In the days that followed, it became clear that Moore's comment had not only triggered Trump but had also ignited a media frenzy. TV networks, news outlets, and even some conservative pundits began weighing in, with some attempting to downplay Moore's statement while others declared it an epic moment of political justice. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign issued a public statement calling Moore's remarks disgusting and entirely untrue, though they stopped short of actually responding to the substance of the comment. Instead, they launched a campaign of their own, urging Trump's supporters to defend the legacy and stop the lies of Hollywood elites. But perhaps the most memorable fallout came from an unlikely source, Trump's eldest son Donald Trump Jr., who appeared in an interview the following morning. Looking visibly flustered, Don Jr. called Moore a washed-up hack and insisted that the filmmaker had no idea what he was talking about. Yet when pressed on what specifically Moore had gotten wrong, Don Jr. stumbled, eventually muttering something about how liberals just don't understand how hard running a business is. His rambling response quickly became a viral meme. Base was either refusing to acknowledge or was too afraid to confront. Moore's not wrong, one Republican strategist said off the record. Trump's not running for president, he's running for his freedom. But people don't want to hear that. They'd rather believe in the myth of his power. While the media continued to chew over the latest drama, Trump's children remained conspicuously quiet. Don Jr., who had been vocal in his defense of his father's political career, refrained from making any public statements in the wake of Moore's comments. Eric Trump, similarly, was nowhere to be seen, which led to speculation that the two were being advised to stay out of the spotlight. The younger Trump's silence was especially noticeable, as his usual bombastic commentary had become an ongoing feature of the Trump brand. Meanwhile, Ivanka Trump, who had distanced herself from her father's public political battles in recent months, sent a message to close friends that was quietly leaked to the press. "I can't take this anymore," the message reportedly said. "It's bad enough we have to deal with the political chaos, but now this circus is spilling over into every part of our lives."
For a day. Yeah, maybe a week. Possibly a month. And then, like the Brits, who wanted to send a message, so they voted to leave Europe. Only to find out that if you vote to leave Europe, you actually have to leave Europe.
"We need to figure out a way to escape this." The message sparked further conversation about Ivanka's future in the Trump family business and whether she would continue to support her father's campaign or quietly exit the public stage for good. As the media frenzy reached its peak, Moore capitalized on the moment. In an appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, he doubled down on his remarks and made a bold prediction. Trump's not even running for the presidency anymore. He's running a reality show that never ends, and he knows this season might be his last. Colbert, practically in stitches, added, "Well, if it's his last season, I sure hope he gets a good finale. Maybe a tour of his prison cell." But it wasn't just the left-wing talking heads who took Moore's side. Mainstream media outlets across the political spectrum began to pick up on the idea that Moore's comment had struck at the heart of Trump's motivations. "We're talking about a man who built his entire career on the premise of reality, not reality television," said a New York Times editorial. "The fact is, Trump has been scrambling for years to remain relevant in a post-presidency world."
Those who vote for him, he had record turnouts. He has the largest rallies. He supports a 21st century version of fascism,
where his star has begun to dim. The editorial also noted that Trump's strategy of relentlessly attacking his critics had worn thin, and that Americans were beginning to see through his political theatrics. On social media, Trump's loyal base attempted to rally in defense of their leader. But the hashtags and counter-campaigns began to look less authentic and more manufactured. One prominent MAGA influencer posted a picture of Moore, captioning it, "This is the guy who wants to lead America." The photo, showing Moore's disheveled appearance at an award show, quickly backfired when Moore himself responded with a photo of Trump at a recent rally, captioned, "This is the guy who wants to lead America." The meme quickly went viral, further fueling the online narrative that Moore had won the battle of the week. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Trump-Moore drama, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more explosive political updates, insider commentary, and the latest headlines. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Subscribe now.